Okay, thanks.
It's like at home, I never noticed.
Well, it's because we're
You're right.
all right. I'm reading.
And we are reconvening to open session for the National School District School Board. Welcome tonight. Would you please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will you please call roll?
Ms. Avalos?
Present.
Ms. Rebecca Castañeda?
Present.
Ms. Saraga?
Present.
Ms. Gee?
Present.
And Ms. Sarmiento Lucas?
Thank you. In closed session, the board, by a 4-0 majority vote, decided to initiate or intervene in a legal action, insulin pricing litigation. The action, the defendants, and the other particulars shall, once formally commenced, be disclosed to any person upon inquiry, unless to do so would jeopardize the district's ability to effectuate service of process on one or more uncertain parties, or that to do so would jeopardize the district's ability to conclude existing settlement negotiations to its advantage. The members voted as follows. Aye votes, Trustee Avalos, Trustee Bettencourt Castañeda, Trustee Gates, and Trustee Lizarraga. Trustee Sarmiento was absent. Thank you. All right. Item 5 is presentations. And 5A is to recognize Iris Arellano Balbuena, Computer System Technician, District Office, as the National School District Employee of the Month for December 2024. Mr. Cross.
Good evening, everyone. Dwayne Cossey, the Executive Director of Information Technology for the district. And I am super excited to celebrate our own. And, but I'm the new guy. So I'm gonna pass it over to Joe Ferris, my Supervisor of Technology, to join us in the celebration and to celebrate Edith. No, Joe.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the school board, Dr. Brady, executive cabinet. I know everybody knows I'm long-winded, so I promise I'll keep this to just a few paragraphs. Excuse me.
Keep it short.
Apparently, this never happens. I would like to take this moment and shine a spotlight on an incredible individual who's been an essential part of our technology team for the past 2.5 years, Edith. From day one, Edith has proven to be a highly valued member of our team, earning a wonderful reputation throughout the district. Her engaging and positive attitude makes her a joy to work with, and she always goes above and beyond in every task she's assigned. During technical emergencies requiring a rapid response, I've often turned to Edith, and she has always risen to the occasion with a smile. In these situations, Edith is a person I know I can count on to get the job done and to get it done right the first time. What truly sets Edith apart is her dedication and her passion for her work. Edith has a remarkable ability to learn new systems and technologies, not just settling for the basics, but fully embracing them and dedicating herself to becoming an expert. Her enthusiasm for growth and learning is quite remarkable. It has genuinely been an absolute pleasure to collaborate with Edith, and I'm excited to see her continued growth and success within our NSD family. A big thank you, Edith, for all you do. Keep shining bright.
Thank you.
Stay right.
Okay.
Right here. And turn around.
See? He's ready. I am. Thank you. So, hi everybody. I'm truly honored to be recognized as Employee of the Month, and I want to express my gratitude to everybody who made this possible. To Dwayne and Joe and all of you. Thank you for those who nominate me, my knowledge and my hard work. Your recognition means the world to me. To my coworkers, I'm grateful for your collaboration and support as we achieve so much together. To the kids who are the future of the world, I want to remind you always focus on your makes you happy. And study hard. By doing so, you will create better opportunities for yourself and finding careers that truly bring you joy. I also want to thank my parents who give me the foundations to become who I am today. You always taught me through the example to do the best that I can do. To my sisters, thank you for standing with me the best and the worst moments. To my husband and my son, thank you for always being by my side, and support me through everything I could. I couldn't do this without you, all of you. So thank you so much for being with me.
Bravo.
Another round of applause for women. In paper, but this is not, this is part of that clap for you, so this is for you. So thank you for that. Thank you so much. Yeah, women. Haven't you have a picture of you, Iris? Come in the front. It's your day today. We cannot go without a picture. Come on, Emily. Come on, mommy. Thank you. Dad has to be in there. He wants to film. Right here.
That's right. I want the youth by me.
You have your own personal cheer treat. It's English as a whole. Ready?
No, yes.
Mine is fine. Great family.
Thank you. We'll move on. Item 5B, we made sure that he was here so that he could fix it. You know, timing is everything. Item 5B is to introduce and welcome the new employees. Dr. Kevin.
Okay, I have the pleasure of introducing and welcoming our new employees. Tonight we have 3 employees with us here. Our first employee, if you wouldn't mind coming up as I call your name. At the end, what I'll do is call and discuss who is also new to the NSD family but could not make it tonight. First, I'm going to call up Lluvia Fonseca, custodian night at El Toyon School. Come on up. Ms. Fonseca has worked as a preschool teacher in Mexico. She holds a bachelor's degree in preschool education from Mexico. Welcome, Lluvia. Our next employee is Josue Poveda. Mr. Poveda worked as a consultant for an insurance company and Olive Garden as a manager. He holds an associate's degree in hospitality management, and it's from the Universidad Tecnología Equinocial, I think I said that right, and a degree in English as a foreign language from Escuela Politécnica del Ejército. A little bit nervous about that one. Our next employee is Teresa Ramirez, campus student safety assistant. Ramirez is a substitute campus student safety assistant for the National School District. Welcome, Teresa.
One. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to our new employees. We have 3 more new employees that were not able to make it tonight. Our first one is Amanda Flores, instructional assistant preschool at John Otis. Ms. Flores volunteered at El Toyon School and is currently a campus student safety assistant substitute for the National School District. Welcome, Amanda. Our next employee is Susana Sevilla, instructional assistant healthcare. Ms. Sevilla worked as a student attendant for the Chula Vista School District and is currently an instructional assistant healthcare substitute for the National School District. Welcome, Susana. Our next employee is Juan Rodriguez Murillo, campus student safety assistant at Palmer Way School. Mr. Rodriguez Murillo is a campus student safety assistant substitute for National School District. Welcome, Juan. And welcome to all of our NSD employees to the NSD family.
All right, well, it's good to have you all here. We are moving to our business section of the night, and you are absolutely welcome to stay with us. It gives us somebody to talk to. But if by chance you need to get home, we also like to leave a moment for everybody to be able to go and not feel like it's weird. So we're just gonna take a quick, just a quick 2-minute break. Thank you all for coming. Good night.
Hey, you're the-
Moving location.
Wait, you're not excited at you. You get tickets to
All right. Item 6 is public communications. Public communication provides the public with an opportunity to address the board regarding an item on the agenda or other topic. Anyone wishing to address the board shall submit a request for oral communications card. Cards are available near the entrance to the boardroom and are to be submitted to the recording secretary. A member of the public who wishes to address the board on any such matter is limited to 3 minutes for one matter, up to a maximum of 5 minutes for all closed and open session matters. There shall be a limit of 20 minutes for any matter unless such time limit is waived by a majority vote of the board. Members of the public may not yield any time to other speakers. No board action can be taken. Do we have any speakers tonight?
Yeah, speak.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 7 is the agenda. 7A, to accept the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Okay, any questions? All right, I have a motion to accept by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, a second by trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
And passes unanimously.
Item 8 is to approve the consent agenda, routine items of business. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon in one action by the board. It is understood that the superintendent has recommended approval for these items. There will be no discussion prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent agenda. All items approved by the board will be deemed considered in full and adopted as recommended. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Any comments, questions? Okay. Then I have a motion to approve by trustee Avalos, a second by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
And it passes unanimously.
Item 9 is general functions. 9A is to ratify costs for incoming board member Cindy Lopez to attend the California School Board Association Annual Education Conference. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Any questions? For a quick point of clarification, oddly, this conference occurs at the beginning of December every year. And it is an opportunity for the board to go and actually receive additional education, additional professional development, and a lot of updates to things that are going on. The positioning of the conference, though, at the beginning of December, puts any new incoming board members in an odd spot because they miss out on the opportunity for some of that new training as they are coming in that they could receive at the beginning of December in this particular conference because it occurs before they're sworn in, which happened with our newly elected incoming board member, Cindy Lopez. This is why this is in this space, because the conference, which is again very informative and very purposeful for board members, took place 2 weeks before the swearing in ceremony. So just as a point of clarification for those listening. Trustee Lizarraga.
Thank you. I'm not in disagreement that she get trained and get a heads up of what the new updates or the intent of this conference that we attended. So I would like to see if Ms. Lopez can provide a report on whatever she learned in there and whatever her insights were from the conference. So I would like to see that coming.
Which is part of our board policy, is that any board members report back on what we have learned so that the knowledge can become more common for the whole. Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
And I think that going forward, I did bring this up to Delegate Assembly in terms of the timing of it, but I think I would like to see going forward that perhaps the date can change or they can be mindful of it because it does put a district in an uncomfortable situation because most districts only budget for 5 board members because at any given time, if we have a change in board, it could be up to perhaps 8 board members because an outgoing could be 5 plus an incoming of 3 because at a term could be a term of 3 board members. So I know that this is something that we had a conversation with our PACER, and there was a discussion at the PACER level. I don't know if there will be a change, but this is a discussion we had. So, some districts don't have a budget at all. They didn't send anybody because it's not that there's disposable money, because it is very expensive to send somebody. And if we sent all 8, if we were in that situation, but especially if, if it's an investment, it's time that we take out of our day, out of our family, and it's something that we need to invest in, but also that we need to dedicate. So going to the sessions, investing our time, coming back and reporting out, but also if we are investing in that, we need to ensure that it's available. So hopefully that CSBA can make that consideration, so that way we can ensure that we're not spending money that is not necessary. Because if all 5 board members that are going out and then potentially 3 coming in would want to go, we're not just spending that unnecessary money. So again, as a delegate, I will see if there's a response that we would get an update on, or I would receive, and hopefully get some update coming back. But I can't guarantee that I will get an update, but I would try to bring that forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Trustee Desai.
Thank you. And just to add to what we said, in regards attending, there's always opportunities to train for board members to keep updates on policies and legislature. So it will be nice to have, if we don't have the capacity to send it out before she's sworn, or whoever is on board new, if we have an next opportunity next year. So we will have that consideration in there and put the language in there that if it's not prior to sworn, it can be the next year. So we will be having that to have accountability, because we using school money too, and wherever we're using, there's always opportunities to train during the year. At least she should miss that day. That conference time. That's all. Thank you.
All right. So, any other comments, questions? Okay. I have a motion to ratify by Trustee Avalos and a second by Trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
And it passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Item 10, educational services. Item 10A, we have a presentation by Integrity Charter School, Dr. Kraft.
Thank you. I would like to bring to the podium the Executive Director and the Assistant Director of Integrity Charter School.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President Gates, esteemed governing board, Dr. Brady, and the executive cabinet. Thank you so much for having us here this evening to share a little bit about our school. Next to me, I have Melinda Wold. She's our assistant director. Very lucky to have her as part of my team. So thank you. All right. Our theme for this year is to accelerate learning. And so the theme on all the slides, you'll see our Jaguar, which is our school mascot, flying into space, right? Accelerating that learning. So that is what our focus is for the year. Okay, this is our leadership team, same as last year. We have our coaches, our curriculum and instructional coordinator, as well as our safety and operations coordinator. And just a few pictures, some celebrations and memories that we had from last year. On the bottom, you'll see it says Integrity Parent Committee. That is something that we're extremely proud of. We have worked really hard to build up our parents at our school to be a part of our school as much as possible. And so our Integrity Parent Committee has grown a lot. They're AKA IPC. And so you'll see them around our campus often. They're decorating for all of our events. They're fundraising. They're doing many things for them, and we're so grateful for them. And then on this bottom corner over here, you'll see second grade visiting USD. All of our classes K through 8 visit a college campus. every year, and a different campus. So if they stay with us from kindergarten through 8th grade, then they would have visited 9 different college campuses, as well as study colleges from all over the world. And they all choose which college they're going to talk about, and that is their mascot for the year. They decorate bulletin boards, they do presentations and so forth about the colleges. We have Career Day, our winter concert, which is next Wednesday, if any of you would like to come. Our winter concert is next Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Faith Chapel Church in Spring Valley. It's one of our biggest events of the year, and our kids have been working really hard at their performances. Moving on to our data. This is our overall comparison for ICS. And what we did was we looked at other charter schools that have the same demographics as us, including a similar percentage of ELs, a similar percentage of free and reduced lunch, and that are close to us as well. So as you can see, Howard Gardner is pink. Then we have Darnell, King Chavez, and then ICS, and then we added NSD, and then California on here. You'll see we maintained our ELA. We did drop in math, so that is something that we definitely need to focus on. Still, we know that we're moving, and so this is our data from last year. Okay. Seems like we're right in the middle of the other charters, NSD and California. Okay.
May I ask a quick clarifying question?
Yes. Oh,
Um,
I'm like, who's?
Yeah, sorry. These are your meeting and exceeding.
These are our meeting and exceeding.
Just
Correct.
Just making sure.
Yes. This is our proficiency.
Yes.
Okay. And then this graph is also similar to the one I just shared. It's a little bit more detailed. And by the way, these are just focused on our 3rd through 6th grade. We also have slides for our 7th and 8th graders as well. Okay. So you can see the cohorts as well as the last 3 years of data. And again, as I said, we have some work to do in math. We know that, and we are on it. Okay, here's our middle school, our 7th and 8th graders. So we compared them also to King Chavez, similar demographics, but they also have a campus that's their middle school campus. Darnell's 7th and 8th grade, Howard Gardner, same schools that we compared with. And again, we are in the yellow, the greenish yellow. Oh, those colors are too similar next to each other. Apologize for that. But in our ELA for middle school, we're at 31.8% proficiency and 17.8% for math. Okay. And then here are the cohort results for that for the last 3 years. And then we also have this slide for multilingual learners and our students with disabilities. And so for the last school year for 2023-2024, we have the percentage of students that met, exceeded, nearly met, not met. And so we know we have a lot of work to do here as well. And in our students with disabilities, we have 16.7% nearly met. Our hope is that we move those students over to met and exceeded, as well as our multilingual learners. And this year we sent a lot of our teachers to GLAD training, and we're looking for those GLAD strategies in those classrooms. Okay. We did want to point out some bright spots because we definitely have them. We know we have some work to do. However, there are some great things that are happening at Integrity. We have 2 classes per grade level. And so one of our 3rd grade classes had 70% proficiency in ELA, which is amazing. We're definitely highlighting that teacher and the work that she does on a daily basis, and having other teachers go in and see what she's doing, recording her, talking about what's happening in her classroom. She's been a teacher with us for about 7 years, and she's made a lot of gains over time. Hardworking, our students are very lucky to be in that classroom and to be getting that instruction that she gives on a daily basis. Our 4th and 5th grade ELA proficiency increased, which is great from the previous year. And then some of the data you don't see, right, when we're looking at CAS data, and we only look at like the MET exceeded and get that proficiency. We also wanted to know, are our kids growing, right? So even if they're nearly met, or if they were not meeting but moved to nearly met, we wanted to highlight that as well. So of the 197 students tested in ELA, and this is the kids who moved up, right? We had 34 of them move up, which is about 17.3%. So we're hoping to keep moving them forward. We're tracking those kids and following them and looking at their STAR data, looking at their local data all the time to see how they're doing, having conversations with those teachers, and showing them this is how close they are to proficiency. Let's move them forward. And then we had 24 of those 34 kids move from not met to nearly met. So we think that's great. In math, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade math, proficiency increased. And then 28 of the 199 students tested moved up proficiency levels. And you can't see it, but 24 out of the 28 went from not met to nearly met. And so our next steps are this year, right before the school year started, we started something new. So we started a summer bridge program. We invited students to come to school before the school year started to get math instruction. And so we had teachers basically teaching summer school, but we call it our summer bridge program. And this year, instead of tutoring at the end of the day, what we have is extended day, 3 days a week. So our students are getting math instruction for an extra hour a day. And those are students that we have recognized need that extra support. So not just anybody was invited for extended day. All grade levels are receiving extended day math from a credentialed teacher. So 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We have art for our K students. Luckily, we have Prop 28 funds. So we were able to use that to provide art for our students. We restructured our PLCs. We're doing walkthroughs often and taking notes, sharing all that feedback with our staff, and then centering our professional learning around what we see our needs are. And so one of the things that we've noticed is explicit instruction and student engagement. Those are the key things that we're focusing on. A lot of feedback, like I said, new teachers to GLAD training. What we also noticed and we learned doing a deeper dive into Lexia, which Lexia English is what we use as our designated ELD program. What we noticed were kids were meeting their minutes, but they weren't necessarily finishing units, is what we call them. So we changed our focus to look at not just the minutes they're doing every day for designated ELD, but are they getting through the units? And so we think that focusing on that, using the lessons we get from that will help with our multilingual learners. We're focused on all of our student strengths. We've really built up our Thrively connections. Thrively is a program where students take a test and it shows them what their strengths are. It's like a strengths finder test. And so we have that listed all over our school. It's on their report cards. We added a section for not just their grades, but what their strengths are. Our IEPs contain their strengths as well. So when we sit down and we talk about kids, that's the first thing we talk about, right? We know this kid is a critical thinker. So here's what a great way to teach them. So we really bring those out. And then, it's hard to see, but we've also focused on a culture of testing at our school. We celebrate kids every month who have improved on all of their benchmarks. We get into testing mode as a school. All of our teachers wear these star headbands when it's Star Week. It's just, we've turned the whole culture around to focus on that testing, and we've seen a difference already. So we've already taken 3 STAR exams, which are our local indicators, as well as our interims, and we're already seeing that growth. So we're very happy with that. And thank you for listening. Any questions?
Trustee Avalos.
I don't have any questions, but Antiquity Charter is very close to my heart. You should probably know that it started on Palm Avenue,
Yes.
Valley too, and I was the president there at the time. So I would go with Sandy Dominguez to buy the books and to learn a lot of things. She just had me go around with her since I was the president, so I learned a lot right there.
Yes.
And to my grandchildren, Nicole and Kayla attended Integrity Charter School. So you've gone a long way and you've done a lot. In fact, my 2 granddaughters right now are already married with children.
Oh,
So you know how long ago that was, right?
Yeah.
When it first started there on Palm. So it is, like I said, very dear to my heart. And I'm very excited for all you have done for our children in Nashville City. And I know you're going to be moving soon.
Thank you for being a part of our history, and thank you for supporting us. We have plans. Hopefully, our building will be ready July 2026. So hopefully, you'll see some construction happening soon.
Very proud of what you've done.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Proud of her.
Thank you.
Trustee DeSarga.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hart, for the presentation. I would like to, I just want to turn because usually is the learning as it seems like you have good readers, but math is what the work for improvement in that part. So besides the supplemental resources for child, like illustrative math, for example, what other methods of another type of supports from outside, like for example, the math, college students can help out another student, or the parent support in regards to math. Math is not my strength. I know, I understand, usually in 3rd grade, but it will be something that you consider to use as a resource because we have mentors that can help out the kids, like a peer-to-peer, but at another level of math. So I would like to see if you are considering that one on the conversations on with the teachers too.
Thank you for that advice. I think that's a great idea. We do have students who come onto our campus that are seniors in high school that come onto our campus to volunteer and support our school. It would be great to utilize them in that way. So I appreciate that. We have a Family Friday once a month, and at that time we give parents tips and different things they can do at home with their kids. And I think something that you said is something that we'll consider is like giving them that education as well so that they can help them. And then bringing them in so they can see like we're really doing a lot of work on this. We really want to improve our math. We know it's extremely important. And so again, thank you for that. And we'll definitely look into that.
Thanks. Yeah. The demands of math right now for the testing process is a little difficult, especially with the parents. That math is not different taught now that like 3 years ago.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
with the academic loss that we're suffering too, it would be nice to have that resource for that population of students. Thank you.
Thank you.
In looking at the CASP data
Yes.
and tracking cohort,
Yes.
because we know that we want to track
Yep.
those children and their particular growth and over time, because each grade each grade is a completely new set of kids. Each year is a completely new set of kids. But so one question I have is looking at the data, how cohesive are your group, are your student populations from year to year, as far as keeping and maintaining students, so that when we look at this, we know that we are talking about the same kids?
Yes. I mean, we do have, kids who come in and out, that's for sure. We tend to get students new to us in 6th grade as well. So they'll come from other schools. 7th grade and 8th grade, we always have a wait list, right? So we have a data sheet, an Excel sheet, where all of our teachers input the data, and that's what we look at along with our leadership team to really guide what our next steps are. And on that sheet, we actually have on there how long the students have been with us, right? So it is alarming when we've had kids who have been with us since kinder, for example, and if they're not progressing at the levels that we think they should be, right? So those are the types of conversations we are having with our teachers. This is newer for us too in that way. Before we would just look at cohort data or, grade level data, that type of thing. Now we're being very specific and actually following the kids, and that's the first time we're doing that. So we're hoping because of that, we're going to see a difference as far as the outcomes. But with that being said, it's not exactly apples to apples. I can't say that because we do have kids coming in and out, but we do know which kids have been with us. And when we create the data for just us to look at, we take out the kids that are no longer there. And then we calculate the data again to see what that looks like.
Because, we just had these discussions with Dr. Kraft regarding national students, and there are years that always seem to take a bit of a hit, like a transition year.
Yeah.
3rd to 4th usually is one of those because you go from, 24 or whatever students, 25 students to 32 or 33. And that's a big change for students. And so we often see that. There are those things that we know are kind of present in our numbers that you can't, you have to know that that's there.
Yes.
Because otherwise it can really you can really sit there and go, what in the world just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just added 9 more kids.
Yeah.
But when you dig, have there been any trends that you have been identifying as that you're seeing, like one of the 5th grade teams or one of the principals was talking about the fact that language, the academic language and the English language vocabulary for math was something that was standing in the way. And that they really got in really working into the data, they went, oh wait, that's a huge issue our kids are facing. And it's really impacting what they're doing. And so I'm wondering if there are any specific learnings that you've come back with when you're looking at some of this.
So Mrs. Wold actually just did a whole presentation for our board about this because she disaggregated and looked at all the things and looked at what skills in math are we lacking in. And so I'll let her answer that question for you. Thank you.
Yes, so great question. And those are one of our wonderings too, is what is that gap or what is that hindrance for our kids to perform? And very similar was that academic vocabulary and the language framing of those word problems in math specifically. And so in that restructuring of the PLCs, that's where our teachers are now looking at what is being asked of students within the curriculum, within testing. What am I saying as I deliver the lesson? Am I utilizing the academic language? And am I requiring students to also use that when they're collaborating with each other? And so we're finding that is an essential piece to that student learning, is knowing the language of math and what's being asked of them and disaggregating all that information within an assessment or within an assignment or whatever my teacher is trying to say to me. So we are working on that continuously, not only for math, but English language arts as it's connected to science, social studies, because we have a large group of students who are multilingual learners. And when we look at the LPAC that speaking and listening and reading and writing, that all comes to play. And so it's just making that connection. It's not separate. They're all related together. So that's the work that we're doing this year and beyond.
I like that summer bridge idea. I have, so I think one of the things we might ask is teacher commitment. How was that getting the, like, pulling teachers in for that? You know, so often we can be accused of, you know, of course, like, teaching's the best job. You know, you get your summers off, you know, whatever, and not understanding that we usually are planning something over summers and prepping for things over summers and things like that. But I'm just curious.
So
Yeah.
I shared the idea with our staff and said, hey, here are some ways like we're thinking might help. And brought it up, and I said, obviously it can't happen unless, you know, teachers want to do that. We do pay them. And we pay them well for the extended day and for the summer bridge program. We had no problem getting teachers to want to do that. I was surprised. And like I said, every grade level, K through 8, was able to get a credentialed teacher that was willing to teach that math and extended day. And then for summer bridge, we focused on our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And so we needed 3 teachers to do that, and we were able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a similar issue. We have a whole bunch of people come over in 6th grade because parents realized that they would prefer sometimes a smaller environment.
Correct, yeah.
So 6th grade is that transfer year, it seems, for parents who are thinking towards middle school.
Yes. And also with that being said, we know we really need a solid 6th, 7th, and 8th grade team. That's always our hardest team to keep as well as to hire for. So we do find that could be challenging as well. So we try to think of ways to incentivize, one being that we have smaller classroom sizes. So in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, our classroom sizes are 25-1. Can go up to 27, but they're all around 25. And so we try to appeal to that because we do need a really solid middle school. You know, we don't call it middle school at our school, but upper grade team.
Well, thank you for taking your time tonight. Thank you for all you've invested in putting this presentation together and bringing this to us.
Thank you.
It's always good to hear from you. I feel in the 4 years that we've done this, I feel like there is a collaborative level in it, and I'm thankful for it.
Absolutely. I really do appreciate the executive cabinet for working so much with me. I appreciate that so much. So, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you both.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Good night. All right. Well, item 10B is to approve out-of-state travel for Dr. Sharmila Kraft to attend the 2025 American Educational Research Association annual meeting. Do I have a motion?
Yes. Second motion?
Dr. Kraft?
Yes, this is the conference that I attended last year, and the benefit of this conference versus the California conference is that I have the opportunity to interact with individuals that are actually conducting research on best practices in education. And one of the key pieces that is emerging, and that will be a component as we saw at CSBA, is AI and its impact in education. And so there will be a lot of not only just research on instruction and what it looks like, but get some ideas of how school districts are formulating policies around it. So it's something I look forward to be able to bring back.
Do we have any questions?
Just to clarify, AI is artificial intelligence,
Oh,
right? For those who are listening or we're listening to recordings, so artificial intelligence is not a trending, but it's a momentum. So it's gonna be in the future. Thank you.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, a second by trustee Lusarga. Please vote.
And it passes unanimously.
Okay. Item 10C, to approve 3-year expanded learning opportunities plan. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve? I second the motion.
Dr. Kraft?
Yes, this is the continuation of what the board approved with their expanded learning program. We're putting components of tutoring in there. I've been working with Mr. Sanchez, and we want to be able to expand. However, we haven't been able to recruit as many of our own teachers because they have other family commitments, and we want them to be as fresh as possible during the day. But we do have greater need than what we've been able to recruit. So before I go further into the actual details of this piece, I wanted to show what the kids and hopefully parents that are watching get to enjoy in addition to the tutoring. I apologize. I'm on the wrong item.
Hold that thought.
This was assuming that you would approve this 3-year plan.
Prepared for it. Okay. Do we have any questions for Dr. Kraft regarding the plan? Okay, anyone who is interested, it is part of the agenda, so if you're looking for details, feel free to go to our nsd.us website and look under board meetings for agenda, and you can review the plan yourself. Moving forward, I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote.
And it passes unanimously.
Okay, item 10D, to approve the purchase of single wire software from SHI International Corporation to support emergency communication. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second the motion.
Up at the same time.
All right, Dr. Kraft.
Yes, I'd like to invite Mr. Kasi up to the lectern to give a brief for the board.
Good evening again. So the purchase of single wire allows us to take some of our legacy hardware, the intercom systems that we already have in place, and pair it with some of the newer technology, such as like IP speakers, or if we get into security cameras or electronic door access. And where it really makes a big difference is to notify people that there's an issue, and it makes it really easy to do that. So, for example, we can create preset buttons for people to select if there's a drill, or we could say there's an earthquake drill, and we can hit that it's all clear from a number of devices. And so whether it's from a cell phone or a desktop or an app, we can make it easy for school administrators, superintendent to notify the entire district. And we can take it a step further with notifications that are silent notifications as well. With introducing different hardware technology into the district, that software really brings things together. So it's not really new technology, it's just new to the district.
Any questions?
I do. Is it gonna be done in multiple phone devices from the parents that they can, from the families? They have 2 devices.
So this specific software is really focused on internal communication.
Internal?
Yes, so from the office or even the district to like the outer offices to notify people there's an issue. So it can work actually from the classroom to the office the opposite way. if you see someone jump a gate, for example, you can, there's a number of different ways to do it, whether it's a panic button or a press of a key to notify people. So obviously we haven't set it up yet, but it's more of an internal communication instead of an outgoing to families.
Okay. Okay. So, thank you.
Trustee
Just clarify.
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
And how are we gonna roll that out? Everybody get trained or everybody's gonna get trained, so that way everybody feels comfortable. Is that everybody's gonna have access at the same time? So to ensure everybody's comfortable.
So we'll have to go school by school. So the software is just one part of it. So we'll need some hardware as well. So you'll see purchases for IP speakers, and that's more of a larger installation because they have to be mounted on a wall, physically mounted on a wall. But we can start with the software in like small stages. Like the first stage would be just to introduce the Bell system, where it would take over the Bell system. Right now we have legacy hardware systems, and so we would use this system to do the software for the bells and notifications. So answer your question, yes. In that scenario, we would train school administrators to be able to initiate those bells and change the schedules themselves and to initiate a number of emergency alerts.
So if we were to have any type of power outage, how would that work?
So there's, which we've already purchased, there's what's called a server that sits in every school in the main data center. We call that the MDF, and that location has a battery backup. And so that battery backup in that server would perform what we call survivability. So in case the network goes out, they could still have bells and communication with that unit. Now, it's only going to last as long as the UPS, the battery backups last. So once those battery backups are done, then we're basically can't communicate at that point.
Because I know that we're currently having some issues with the outages with SDG&E and so on. So we want to ensure that we have some backup plans. So that would be our backup.
Yes, the battery backups are the best option we have, but they do not have extended periods of time. It's like 4 or 5 hours, but they would get us to the point where we'd be able to notify people that there's an issue and make decisions from there.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
thank you.
I have a motion to approve by Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, a second by Trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
And it passes unanimously.
Item 10E is to approve America Ellis, parent at Lincoln Acres School, to represent National School District as a parent representative on the Community Advisory Committee. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Dr. Kraft.
Yes, I'd like to welcome Dr. Vargas to the podium.
Good evening, board members, executive cabinet. We are asking to renominate Miss America Ellis to represent the National School District in South County, SELPA. This would be her second term. From the information I've gathered from the SELPA, the CAC is starting up. They are engaging in some great advocacy. She is a great representative, and so my recommendation to the board would be to continue that nomination.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? I have two.
Yes.
What is the length of time that that she would represent us? I'm assuming there's a term limit.
There is a 2-term limit. This would be her last term.
Okay, and how many years are on a term?
2 years.
Okay, and because parents promote with their children, which is heartbreaking sometimes. I'm just curious, is she
She
here for the
is
2
well
years?
within that, and her children are not expected to promote within the 2-year term.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right.
Oh,
I do.
I have a question, I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
If there was a 2-year term limit, why are we voting again on it?
So it's a 2-term limit, and each term is 2 years.
Oh, okay, I thought
And
it
this
was
would be
2
her-
years, she was on her second. Yeah, this is just, okay.
Her second term of 2 years, should the board approve her nomination.
Dr. Brady.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that for National School District, each school district in the South County gets to nominate a certain amount of parents or educators to the Community Advisory Committee. For national, in the bylaws, we get 2 parents, 1 educator. So we do have a second parent that's in the middle of her term right now. Her name is Margin Lopez, that the board approved this past year. I actually saw her today at my SELPA meeting with a big smile. And if there were the baby, she'll have plenty of time if she wants to rerun. And then we also have Shelby Carswell that was nominated by NCTA, and she's representing the special education teachers on that. And Miss Ellis did a great job and was super excited about at least being considered by the board tonight. So we're really hoping that you'll vote yes.
And just added information, National School District was the first district to be fully represented at CAC.
Yay.
Trustee Lizarraga.
Thank you. You still after that one because I know not only the mom is advocate, the parent, the father also is very invested on this SELPA. And I would like to see in the future we can have some of the contributions that they've been doing to us, you know, and it's always nice to see their excitement when they in the podium saying, I did this and I accomplished this and I suggested this and I contributed to this. So I would like to see them to one day that they come up with us and see it because, you know, it's always nice to accomplish something and show it up. Thank you.
Agree, thank you.
So some kind of recording.
Some type of, yeah, some type of informational about contributions that they've done, because, and I can see their passions in here. I know America Ellis by heart, and both parents are very invested on the kids, so, and to see, we can celebrate them too.
Agree, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
Well, then, if she's not gonna be, after her term is up, and if she still has her child with us, perhaps the father can run. Yeah.
We're making suggestions with.
Just saying.
We will let him know. He doesn't hurt to ask, right?
To be considered to be a captain. Thank you.
All right. Well, I have a motion to approve America Ellis to the SELPA CAC by Trustee Lizarraga with a second by Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Item 10F to amend CT 4159 with the Regents of the University of California. Do I have a motion?
Second emotion.
Dr. Kraft?
As the board knows, thank you. As the board knows, we began our adoption process and implementation of our new science curriculum. Last year. We did not, and in partnership with UC San Diego, we did not expense out all the funds. So this amendment would allow us to bring those funds and deliverables into the new year, plus with the additional cost.
Any questions? No. I have a motion to amend by Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second by Trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Item 10G to approve CT 4228 with Gina Bishop for Leadership Development Services. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Dr. Kraft?
Yes, this is a wonderful opportunity. We have many of our principal leadership who are coming from different districts. It's an opportunity for us to calibrate and bring cohesion around understanding and language of instruction and the classroom. And so Ms. Bishop has a long history. She is a trainer for MISSLE, I always forget, I always want to say accent, MISSLE, National Institute of School Leaders, as well as an expert and leader of essential elements of instruction. It would be a hands-on course that she would work directly with the principals in calibration around instructional feedback, as well as just recognizing instruction.
Since this is specifically focused on principals, can you give just a few benefits of principal calibration to us so that we understand what you mean by that?
Yes, so oftentimes in districts, you want an instructional framework in which you can see the classroom instruction and see it in the same way. So, so that you're not looking at the same instruction, let's say an English language arts lesson, and interpreting it from a different caliber in terms of, we want to look at the kids. So consistency on this framework is looking at the students, really focused on the students, what the students' tasks are, what's the language that's emerging for the students. And some frameworks would focus on the classroom teacher. This is more focused on what's engaging with the students, where's the transfer of knowledge on the student, and what are the tasks that the students are engaged in that would meet that. So is it the correct level of difficulty in terms of the standards? That would be a required calibration, because if we aren't on the same page of what the standard means, what the DOK would be, then you're going to get variances in results. The depth of knowledge. Sorry, I know I'm getting caught at that. Another component of it is how active is the student in the participation. When you're in a classroom for an extended period of time, the student learning, the learning should be engaging, the mental engagement should be on the student most of the time simultaneously. So are students able to participate and engage in that? And these are elements of instruction that are known to be effective to increase student achievement.
And so instead of focusing on the teacher, though, we're looking for these things through the lens of the principals.
No, the principal would be able to use that as a lens to look at instruction in the classroom.
That's the clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so any principal coming into a classroom across the district will be looking for similar things, so like similar expectations, not Ms. Walker has one set of expectations,
Yes.
but Mr. Lopez has a completely different set of expectations.
Right.
But there's continuity across the district.
Cohesion and continuity, so that because students move, right? And so a student moving from Las Palmas to John Otis and having those opportunities for learning, when a principal is going in, they should see the correct level of difficulty, which is important. Grade level access is the same in that fifth grade class as it was in the other fifth grade class. And to be able to analyze that, to see that.
Dr. Brady.
Yes, and I would like to add that Dr. Kraft does a lot of professional development with the principals. And so this will give a common language in which to talk about what are we seeing in the classrooms, where are we seeing results, how are we getting those results. So then when the principals are looking at their own instruction, they can hear those examples and be able to look for those same things within their own schools. And so I think it gives a common language to talk about instruction for our principals when we're doing that professional development.
Trustee Lusardica?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kraft. I'm wondering what it's gonna be looking like with the learner profile for special education kids that have as IEP. So I see her, Ms. Bishop has those extensive experience of what is gonna be the focus. Because in the general ed, we have room for improvement in math, and some other grades have an English language acquisition, but in regards to special education, it has to be certain criteria to be supported, right? For that, we can use that in that matter.
Sure, and that's the beauty of the essential elements of instruction is that it is transferable. It's that continuity and that cohesion. So even in a special education class setting, the essential elements, how humans learn, those elements of instruction are the same. And so perhaps as going back to my examples earlier, so if a student is a special education student, that experiential learning, that active participation in their learning isn't going to be, it's still a critical piece for that to go into the short term and then to the long term memory. Closure in a lesson is like summarizing and, what the learning was, an activity that summarizes the learning for the students. You would expect that in the general education classroom in every content area as well as in the special education classroom. So these are these essential elements of learning that are known to cement the learning, to be able to and so that most importantly, they cement the learning in the student and allows the student to transfer the learning into novel situations, which is true learning. And so whether it's special education or general education, instruction is instruction, and you want to have these pieces in there.
Okay, yeah, I use looking at it in a mainstreaming lens, so hopefully that'll help us out a little.
Yes.
That part.
Yes.
And I would think another area where it is helpful to us as a district is we do move principals from site to site.
Yes.
So like, for instance, Mr. Sanchez, how many years were you a principal?
Close to 18.
Just those 18. And how many of our
Almost forever.
schools, and how many of our schools did you serve as an assistant principal or a principal?
5 schools out of the 10.
Okay, and so having that kind of continuity from place to place so that each teacher, each teacher group is still got a principal speaking the same language with the same understandings. That's part of the benefit that we're trying to offer.
Exactly, that's exactly it. And it will, again, going back to continuity and cohesion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. You didn't know you were getting called on from the front. I know.
are excited for the next one.
All right. So I have a motion to approve by Trustee Avalos, a second by Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
Passes unanimously.
Okay. Item 10H to approve CT 4250 with Swing Education for tutoring services. May I have a motion?
I second the motion.
Dr. Kraft.
Okay, I was obviously eager to share this with you. This is the, thank you very much for approving item C, the Expanded Learning Opportunities Plan. This is helping to bring that plan into fruition in terms of expansion. As I shared earlier, we have a tutoring component as part of our program, but the students also have access to expanded learning opportunities, that broad course of study that's bringing that cohesion between the regular day and the expanded day. So before I go into the tutoring part, I wanted to share what students can also receive while they're going tutoring, and hopefully parents are watching and will, this will be a way to recruit. So if you don't, yeah, okay.
Hi, Kalina, and hi, Emmy. I just want to ask you a question. What has been your favorite part of participating in the after-school arts program?
Mine was knitting and
making sewing knives.
Sewing, wonderful. How about you, Emmy?
My favorite part of art is instead of sewing, it was actually making the boxes because we got to use Poscas and I didn't really like sewing because first of all it was frustrating and you could put yourself in a lot.
Hi, my name is Laura Fontanes. I'm the mother of Eliana DeCicelo. This is our first soccer game. It's really important for team building, working together as a team, win or lose. Excellent program.
And would you recommend it to other parents?
Absolutely.
And we weren't able to get all of the components, so we listed the programs that we currently offer. That will also include tutoring in the next item. And up and coming is hydroponics.
Robophonic, what's that? Robothink, right? That's what it is?
Right.
So you think like a robot then?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Up and coming job market, boom.
Oh, and yet still we keep the long-term ones like cooking and I always thought this was a weird way to put it, animal husbandry. Like, what in the world is that? But anyway, they're taking care of the critters with the they can have the snakes.
Yeah. Financial literacy, for example, you know?
Do you have
I just wrote that down.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Do we have any questions? Okay, motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, second by trustee Avalos. Please vote.
Passes unanimously.
Item 10I to approve CT 4255 with Premier Healthcare Service DBA Aviana Healthcare, San Diego. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second the motion?
Dr. Kraft?
Yes, I'd like to bring Dr. Vargas up again to brief the board. And as the board will remember, I did put in the board memo several weeks ago regarding the increasing needs for healthcare that school districts are experiencing. And so Dr. Vargas can speak to that a little bit, what's happening here at National. Okay.
Hi, good evening again. So as Dr. Kraft mentioned, National School District is seeing an uptick in students coming in with medical orders. And so per the guidance from our partners at Rady's, we would need LVNs to provide those medical orders in the classroom. This also supports our legal obligation with use restrictive environment, mainstreaming. And so by having this contract in place, it would allow the district to have the appropriate personnel to provide those essential health services to our students.
Questions? Could you give a couple of examples of types of care that require a licensed vocational nurse?
Absolutely.
That you know, an office person or health clerk cannot do?
What comes to mind is an evaluation of whatever medical condition that student may be experiencing. An example that I can give would be G-tube feeding, and specifically evaluating the stoma or the connection of the tube to and the student, making sure there's no infection and treating as such per the medical orders. That's one of the examples that we have.
So, Dr. Vargas, can you please explain what DBA stands for?
Doing business as.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was something medical that
No.
I do understand.
No, they just have a different,
Yeah.
it sounds like Evian is a subsidiary
Okay.
of Premier Healthcare Services.
Thank you, just to clarify.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a motion to approve by trustee Avalos, a second by trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
That passes unanimously.
Okay, item 11 is human resources. Item 11A to approve job description for maintenance and technology supervisor. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Dr. Kevin?
This is a position that helps integrate the needs of the maintenance department as well as the technology department. So as you know, we have been looking at every single position in the district, and one of the positions was Larry Crohn's custodian supervisor, thank you. Custodian supervisor. That position has not been filled, however, the needs still exist at the site. So this is an effort to help support the technology as well as the maintenance needs within the schools, because we recognize that those job-related duties still need to be maintained.
Any questions? I have a motion to approve the job description by trustee Lizarraga, a second by trustee Bencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
That passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 12, business services. Item 12A, presentation and approval of first interim financial report in Exhibit B. We will start with a presentation.
Okay, so,
Dr. Burke, sorry.
yes. Thank you. Okay, so first interim is not adopting the budget. It's not the end of the year story. This one's just kind of a snapshot of how things are going in comparison to the original adopted budget. As always, I start with a quick look at what's happening around the U.S. in our state. Inflation is down, and we're down in between 2% and 3%. So things are better, but in terms from an inflationary standpoint, but one thing that people struggle to understand, I think, is that that doesn't mean the prices come back down to where they were. Once inflation happens, that's permanent, unless there's a downturn that actually affects pricing and it's deflationary. And that's a disastrous situation that we actually probably don't want to see, even though, it is tough to pay $20 for a cheeseburger meal nowadays. State's job, wage, and budget projections are all better than they were when I was up here a year ago telling you the story. The state and nation are doing pretty well from an economic standpoint. However, I will caution overconfidence. Our forecasting is particularly difficult at this point because there's a lot changing, as you know. The DOGE office is looking at things such as cutting public education. Another thing to be aware of is that since 2022, there has been a net change in jobs, and there's a total of 200,000 jobs in California. Let's be aware that the private sector, that's the businesses, that's your tech companies, private businesses, they've actually lost jobs. Where the jobs are happening is in public sector, so government, education, those types of things. That's where the jobs are happening still, and that's happening with public money. That's not sustainable because it's the private companies that produce the money that gets taxed that tends to support public. That's normally how it works. Right now, public is growing and private shrinking. Not at all sustainable, so let's be aware of that. Okay, looking at our picture here, The budget of 2023 at this time, first interim budget is this year, is the first column. Second column that we're looking at is what the board approved in June. The third column that we're looking at is the first interim new numbers. So that's today. So the far right column is today. And you do see some changes have happened across that 1 year window. That's 3 columns. The more important ones are the 2 on the right, because that's this year, what we adopted in the middle, and to the right is what it is today. So we'll focus there, but sometimes we'll reference the history too. One thing that immediately needs attention is the parentheses. Whenever you see parentheses on a spreadsheet, normally that's a sign that you want to look at. That's something that you want to be concerned about. Is there a problem there? And for our parentheses, that means that our fund balance is going down by that much, that we anticipate it will be going down by that much. Our fund balance, how much money we have that we're carrying. So it's important to note that we are now expecting at the end of this year to have spent $24 million more in expenditures than we brought in revenues this school year. So that's a significant amount. But you'll recall that we were in the high 40s in terms of our cash and fund balances, and that was too high. That's a number that's not considered, a sustainable number in terms of, negotiations with salary and things like that. It's not a number that school districts typically carry around almost, 70% of their annual budget. It's usually down closer to around 15, and then 3 for the emergency, right? So 15%, I should say. So being at that $50 million, budget balance was not something we ever expected to continue forever. So this is a spend down that is happening. We're spending more than we're bringing in. Another thing to point out is there has been a change from what we had adopted in the summer to where we are now in terms of, it seems like the spending is happening faster. And part of that, it is in fact, we have spent more, but where that's coming from is we've pulled restricted funds forward, and we are expecting to end this year with less restricted funds than we thought. So money that will be expiring, money that will be going away. We're spending it a little bit faster than we anticipated. Another reason that number, that's 2.6 million of it. 2.9 million of why that it changed from close to 19 million to close to 24.5 million is using some of the LCAP carryover that before it was listed as committed, so it's not listed as an expenditure, but as we've been identifying things and expenditures this year to support students and to support district function, we've pulled from committed LCAP carryover and used it this year, so it becomes an expenditure. So it's again part of the spend down plan, and it's not something that's creating out of control. It is intentional spending that is bringing us back down into alignment. That being said, we need to be aware that it cannot continue forever, that, at some point as we're working our budget down, we've got to get to the right area and kind of put the parachute on, stop our deceleration. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's the main area I wanted to draw attention to. The other one is projected ending fund balance. So a year ago, for last year's budget, we anticipated ending around 46.5 million. And that is the other underlined one. You see the 2 underlined, one's net increase, this one is projected ending. So again, same thing, board approved operating budget, we expected to end this year around 30 million. And we're now saying it's going to be closer to 25 because of that spending from LCAP and because of the restricted fund spending that we pulled forward and are using it this year. Commitments, we'll talk about those briefly later. We do have some safety built in, and we maintain our 3% reserve. Last year, at this time, I was able to talk to you a little bit about some budget adjustments that we were in the process of making to try to control the spend down and make sure we weren't going too fast. I'm not bringing those to you at first interim this year. We plan to bring those forward at second interim this year instead. The reason for that is because there's a lot unknown right now. There's a lot unknown at the state level and at the federal level. At the federal level, as I mentioned briefly at the beginning, it's quite possible we might not have a Department of Education coming down the road. So that could change how funding happens and how funding is routed. I don't mean to make political statements. I'm not trying to make political statements. My job is to, play the hand that we're dealt and try to read it in advance as much as I can. And that is something that has been previewed to us, that it's possible that department could be folded. So that is a great unknown. And there's also talk of California trying to become independent and not have to rely on federal money. Another huge, great unknown. The bigger, more present unknown is what's happening with Prop 98. You may remember last summer, there was a lot of confusion because they gave out the wrong amount of money the year before. The year before, they didn't have the tax receipts because of weather and problems, emergency declared. So the taxes weren't due until October, so they didn't know, and they gave out too much money to education. Well, what happens there is then now you owe education that much money the next year because it's built on year over year over year. So they had to do what's called, they were trying to do a maneuver. It's a complicated situation. They ended up changing from that. CTA and the governor agreed to, and the legislature agreed to what they're calling now a mini maneuver that is still being legislated. They're actually having lawsuits against that maneuver as well. So we'll see what happens. It's impossible to predict exactly what's going to happen there. But we do believe that the state is going to be adjusting our revenues, if not this year, then next year in a permanent ongoing way, in a way that will carry out. So if we were to say get an extra $500,000, we anticipate that would happen again the following year. It would be an ongoing $500,000, and a COLA would apply to that and would increase it. It could be potentially even into the millions of dollars that we would receive in a situation like that. So to try to project the budget at this time and try to project budget adjustments at this time with those kinds of unknowns, we might over-adjust and then have too much of a reaction, and then we put ourselves in a bad spot or created a lot of stress when stress was not needed. There's too many unknowns at this point. We've talked to the county office. San Diego County office supports the decision to not really make any budget adjustments until the second interim, even though there are signs that we need to make budget adjustments, and we'll get into that. Protection against revenue loss. We know that, again, we're spending more than we bring in revenues. Our expenditures are higher than our revenues. We are planning on ending this year at this point. This is kind of a placeholder. We anticipate we're going to need this at some other time, but right now we are showing an ending fund balance for this year of $2.2 million for protection of future revenue loss. So what that does is gives us a little bit of cushion, a little bit of protection should we need to plug that in to help balance our ongoing budget and create that multi-year projection that keeps us in the black. So we are aware that we have more expenditures going out. We can't really make a plan because of the way things are with the politics right now and the way things are with California. And so therefore this money is there available to us as part of the solution. When it's not going to solve the entire issue, but it is part of the solution, and we're ready to deploy this in addition to some spending adjustments when we get clearance. The other thing on here I want to point out is the Health and Wellness Insurance Pool Excess Reserve. That is CSEA's money. That money belongs to CSEA. Again, they have a lot of single members or a couple of members that they don't reach the cap on their insurance. So, our employees get approaching $20,000 in credit for their health insurance. And because of CSEA has people that have lower costs for their insurance, that they are basically banking a little bit each year. It seems like those days may be over, though, because of the way that health insurance costs have gone up, that we are now seeing that instead of banking money, they'll have to be drawing this down as we move into the future. So this may not last forever. This might be another couple of years of having some amount in that column. The multi-year projection, now we're looking forward. So that last 3-column slide, we were looking backwards. This one we're looking forwards. And it's the same thing. You'll see the controlled where the parentheses are, this year we expect to spend 24.5 million more than we bring in, and you see that in the succeeding years, that gets lower. It's less each year how much we're projecting that we would overspend. A lot of that is because the money is expiring. And I want to point to, I'll go up and do it. I've got a number right here. That number is $107,434,000. That's the amount of money we received as a district in 2022, 2023, not very long ago. That's a tremendous amount more than what we're projecting to get in 26, 27, which is, 87.7. It's what, $30 million different. Oh, no, I'm sorry, $20 million different in just across a few years. So that's a massive change in the revenues coming in. And it again speaks to how much of that money was one-time money, meant for the pandemic, meant for response, meant for intervention, the things that we've been doing. We are, again, our district, and this predates me, so I take zero credit whatsoever, but we were wise to not commit as a district to things that have ongoing costs and ongoing costs that tend to increase. That tends to be people, and a lot of times we're able to not make those commitments that you see now. A lot of districts are in the process of having layoffs and looking for huge reductions in force as we move into these next couple of years. Again, that's not a promise that we won't ever have to, but look at those options. But thus far, because of the wisdom on how that money was allotted and what it's been spent on, we don't have as many commitments as maybe some other districts that received COVID funding. Again, you see that another important line on this one is the beginning fund balance. That's the one that's in between the two bolded underlines. And you see that beginning fund balance this year, we started with close to 50 million. That's that amount I was telling you about. We're expecting next year to start with close to 24, and the year after that, close to 18, 19, which it's right in that sweet spot. That's about where you want to be, and level out there. That's things are really going well, and you're protected, everybody's safe, and because we want to make sure that we can pay salaries should something happen, and we have a few months to run business and stay open and do what we need to do. Ending fund balance, again, same thing. And we see that those balances, it gets down into that 16 for 26, 27. Still in that good area, but we do want to make adjustments. And you'll notice that of that 16, most of that balance is restricted. So 12 million out of 16, 3 years out, is restricted money that we can't use for anything other than what it was assigned to do. Child nutrition services, for example. And you see that there that we have our commitment this year that includes that 2.2 million that I mentioned earlier. These funds are generally the ones that, they're the catch-all funds. I don't think we need to go into too much detail on these because we talked about them this summer, but I'll just point out two things. This charter school enterprise, that is Integrity. As we know, they are looking at facility changes, acquiring property, and then developing. After they acquire it, they have to do a lot of development on that property and changes to the structures. So, and I think they're actually building one structure too. And so that is their fund for that purpose. And we have the bond sale here. So the sale of the bonds, the money came in, it is in that account, available in that account. So we are now getting ready to start that work as well. We had a meeting on timeline and planning and project management today. Just want to show you quickly again, cash. This is our cash flow. And you see the same thing as we spend down from that $50 million starting point that we had this year, 49.5, I should say. You see that the spend down puts us a year from now. It puts us as sitting right about in the right spot with 18 million in cash available. For our size district, that is a good spot to be. Not too much, not too little. Next steps. we send the first interim for the county, review and confirmation, and then we have the budget release for the governor for 25-26. Second interim report, fiscal audit comes out, and then second interim report is the one that comes out at the end of this, in March, and that projects how we're going to end the year. And that one that you'll recall is when we'll bring any budget adjustments that could be considerable. And we have a resolution the next board item is a resolution that says that we need to look at adjusting our budget downward, that we need to spend less potentially, and make budget adjustments that are $3 million lower for next year, and then an additional almost $8 million following year after that. So those budget adjustments will have to be presented to you after at the March 2nd interim. We will have to present, I will present to you adjustments that are being made. And that is it. Again, as always, I am just saying the words. It's the team that makes the magic happen, and it's an awesome team. And again, I think Arena's here, and thank you very much for Arena's work on this as well. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I think they were doing pretty good, seeing that money, right? I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of the year.
challenging financial times in general, but I do think the Nationals positioned well to take on the storm. Yep, I do.
Trustee Avalos, Trustee Benko Castaneda.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation, for yourself, and for your team. I know that, again, it's always a lot of work put into preparing this and then presenting it. And thank you for the time.
Our pleasure.
But I also wanted to say thank you for the leadership of Dr. Brady and all those that have invested in and ensuring that we did not spend the COVID dollars as other districts did, and which as a result have now had to do layoffs, because as you know, our surrounding districts have in the media for having to do layoffs and having a large deficit. And we're not in that situation at the moment. We will have to do some cutbacks, but it's not something that we have to do in drastic form at the moment. So I thank you, and I thank our leadership, Dr. Brady, for your wisdom in ensuring that we have continuously stayed on track, and with your guidance and provided us that strong direction. So thank you. Thank you to all of our team.
I had I had Dr. Brady next on my list.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Dr. Berg for really emphasizing when he was talking about how we were spending more than we're bringing in, and it was an alarming amount. We had a long discussion about it today, like how could we be spending 24 million this year and last year, or I'm sorry, not our expenditures, it's 115 million compared to 99 million. And the delta was pretty big. But as the board remembers, we tried to use the most restrictive dollars first. We tried to save our money as long as we could so we could make those multi-year projections. But unfortunately, some of the funds are expiring, and we don't want to give them back to the state. So we thank you for approving those big plans where we're doing all those playgrounds. And tonight, just seeing how beautiful those playgrounds are that our kids get to play on and have the after-school recreation, knowing that in COVID, our students were stuck inside for a long time. Well, maybe not inside, but they didn't get the same outdoor learning at playtime with each other. And now they can get outside, they can get that fresh air, they can play. Those ELAP dollars are going to work, getting a lot of restricted dollars through the ELAP, but we're spending them as they're coming in so we don't have to get them back. So just thank you for emphasizing that, because on paper, the numbers alone don't tell the whole story. And what great timing to have that video tonight, Dr. Kraft.
Trustee Nisarga.
Thank you. If I recall 4 years ago when I entered the first time and this dais, it was scary. And little after that was still scary about facing this type of reports. And now I can see I'm contented that at least we're doing whatever we need to oversee and put priorities first and having the children in mind that they have those opportunities. So I'm very pleased that they were not as scary anymore to see, or it's like, oh my God, well, we're gonna see now massive layoffs and people were feared about losing their job, and we're touching families there. So I'm very content, and thank you to the finance department and the whole team, because they're doing an outstanding job of leading us this leadership, overseeing this budget that it gives me the pleasant sense that we're moving in the right direction, with always having the children first, to serving them better. With the facilities are beautiful, and all those choices that we have to make as a team. So I'm very content that we put priorities first with children in mind. Thank you.
Trustee Lizarraga, I know you're always interested in parent input, and so I'll share with you. Today, we went to Ira Harbison and had a construction meeting. We're visiting each school, and they were thrilled to express their gratitude for the condition of the fields and the opportunities that kids have, and they called out specific things like the opportunity to have the accessible play, and that even things, they noticed things like even the water had been moved up there, and that we might future do something. They had noticed that, and they were thanking us for it, and they were saying, wow, it was really done well, and that they were really excited that their kids got to use those facilities, and it was such an incredible improvement over what was there before. So
Yes.
it was really nice to hear.
Very pleased. Thank you.
All right. Well, if we have no more questions, thank you, Dr. Berg. Then we need to move to approval. Do I have a motion to approve?
I second the motion.
Sorry, I said it, and I pressed it as I said it, so. Sorry, I said it and said it, but you can take it off and then give it.
Okay, so I have Trustee Avalos with a second by Trustee Lizarraga.
Okay.
That's what okay, thank you. And since we have already had our questions, I have a motion to approve by Trustee Avalos, a second by Trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
Kind of passes unanimously.
Item 12B, to approve resolution 24-25.18 to identify the amount of budget reductions needed in 25-26 and 26-27. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Dr. Burke.
Yes, I'll just remind the board that as I presented over there, these are tentative numbers, very much tentative numbers. We do believe that more allocation will be coming from the state. It's just unknown as to how, when, and how much. So, but we do feel confident that these numbers are going to change by some significant level between now and second interim, which again is why we're not, over adjusting the budget to account for it, because we do believe it will be more favorable just 3-4 months from now.
But we have to have a plan that we've agreed.
We do have to have a plan and for the county, and so that they know that that our board realizes what the commitments need to be.
Questions? All right. I have a motion to approve resolution 24-25.18 by Trustee Avalos, a second by Trustee Lizarraga. Please vote.
Kind of passes unanimously.
All right, item 12C is to conduct a public hearing for the collective bargaining agreement with the National City Elementary Teachers Association. board will now hear comments from any members of I'm opening that hearing. The board will now hear comments from any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter. Do we have any members?
No.
Okay. And as part of this hearing, we will make a brief statement. Dr. Burke?
Yes, this captures the negotiated adjustments to both the salary schedule for certificated staff at 0.75% and the health and welfare increase by approximately $1,500 up to $18,975, which for the most part keeps, I mean, it's different by plan because every teacher has different plan depending on the number of families and which insurer they pick, but it pretty much keeps everybody at the current cost of insurance, which is it's a big commitment to the staff because those prices went up considerably this year. Again, $1,500 just on the health and wellness.
Members of the board have comments or questions? Dr. Brady?
And I just wanted to add that the AB 1200 attached is that the county has looked at our numbers to say that we can afford this within our budget. Even though we just heard the numbers that we will have to make some cuts as the years go on, the Dr. Burke was able to present it with the plan of how we would achieve stay fiscally solvent should the board approve this tentative agreement.
I would like to say personally, I believe it's the heartfelt wish of the board that we could do more. But I thank NCETA for understanding that there are spaces in which hands are tied. I'm also thankful for the priority on the health and welfare of our staff, though. Not every district prioritizes that in the way that they should, and I'm thankful that that was intentional in this agreement. So, thank you. All right, this hearing is closed. Item 12D is to approve the tentative agreement between the National City Elementary Teachers Association and the Governing Board of National School District for the 2024-2025 school year in Exhibit C. I'd like to make that motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Dr. Burke?
Yes, and this just captures the negotiated agreements. You can see them in the attachments. It's not just the salary. The salary and health benefits were the primary factors of the negotiation, but there were some other things that agreed to in language and some commitments for staff too, for certificated staff as well. So you're welcome to view those changes as well.
Any questions? Okay, I have a motion to approve by Trustee Gates, a second by Trustee Lusarda. Please vote.
And passes unanimously.
Item 12E to approve the annual developer fee report for fiscal year 2023-2024. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion. Okay. I'll second it.
Dr. Burke?
Developer fees arise when somebody wants to make an adjustment to their house that's more than 500 square feet, or if commercial property gets put into place, expanded, built. We have a low-income housing structure that's going in soon, close to Central, that will generate developer fees. So that's how developer fees happen. It's when people increase the size of structures or increase the number of facilities. They have to pay the local school districts some compensatory funds, basically, to account for the fact that they now can fit more people in these structures, and we may need more facility adjustments to accommodate for that. So that's how it happens. And again, the report shows that we brought in $324,000 last year in additional fees. We spent $153,000, so our balance is at $2.791 million at the end of the last fiscal year. This report is covering the last fiscal year. We do intend to spend this money down now. It will be part of the all the projects that are happening with bond, ELOP, and so forth. We want to focus on accessibility because we do have increasing special education population that has gone from close to 12% to over 20% of our population now. So we are focusing on trying to make sure that these developer fees support that population because it is a growing population. So it is an allowable expenditure that way.
Any questions? I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, second by trustee Avalos. Please vote.
Kind of passes unanimously.
We may have lost the recording of trustee Avalos. I'm not sure how that works, just because it disappeared on the second.
Because she
Just-
presses it,
Yeah.
you press it and then she presses it. and
Okay,
so
just
then-
saying it out loud. 'cause
It's
I-
recording.
Just making sure. Item 12F to approve CT 4248 with SGPA Architecture and Planning for Architectural Services. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Dr. Burke?
Yes, I was in college when this freezer was installed, and look at me now. It's time for a new one. We had to have architectural analysis done for this because the scope of the project, it is a huge freezer. I know trustee Avalos has been in the freezer. I believe that President Gates has been in the freezer. You know, it's big.
Have a cold storage.
And it will require a lot of work to replace a freezer of that scope and size, especially shoehorned in the way it is. So we have an architect supporting us in that effort.
Thanks for bringing that up because I was not in college. I had already graduated. Thanks for the reminder. All right, do we have any questions? Okay, motion to approve by trustee Lizarraga, second by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
I passes unanimously.
Item 12G to approve CT 4249 with RGC General Engineering, Inc. for bid number 24-25-01 for asphalt and paving projects. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Dr. Burke?
Yes, this is just the immediate need work. This is not the SGPA architectural scope work that will be bid out later this year. This is just the immediate pressing need, which was also bid appropriately and according to requirements. And that is the winning bidder is RGC.
Questions? I have a motion to approve by trustee Lizarraga, second by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote.
I passes unanimously.
Item 12H to approve CT 4252 with Western State Builders for bid number 24-25-04B for playground installations at Kimball School. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Trustee Lizarraga with a second by trustee Avalos, yes?
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Process elimination.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, man. Dr. Burke?
Yes, Western was one of two bidders and then was the winning bid for this contract. We've worked with them in the past successfully, so they were awarded the bid.
Questions? I should have known you two would have definitely wanted in on the Kimball support. I have a motion to approve by trustee Lizarraga, second by trustee Avalos. Please vote.
I do have one question.
Oh. I'm sorry.
When will this be completed?
That, once the bid process is approved, we would schedule a timeline. So I would have to get back to you on that, but I can give you the good news that the basement is clear. It's totally cleared out. There's nothing in there anymore. So we got that stuff done. I'll give you a timeline as soon as I have it.
Item 12I, to approve CT 4253 with the Veterans Village of San Diego to accept surplus food donations from National School District. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Dr. Burke?
Yeah, Senate Bill 1383 requires that districts like us who have food service don't waste any excess. So I want to make sure that it's understood that we're not over ordering and getting rid of food, but sometimes after food's been put out, you can't restore it. You can't restock it and use it again, just because of code and health law. So in those cases, rather than getting rid of it just by refuse, we are able to donate it. There's creative ways internally just to allow students to access some of that, but after the end of the school day, there's no going back, and that food, something needs to happen with that. So we need to work with somebody that is has the food handling capability to receive the food and then distribute it. And so we worked with San Diego Food Bank to identify a partner, and Veterans Villages of San Diego was was in need of assistance. And so we'll be working with them this year. I'll add too that we've requested that anytime they are able to ensure that they are prioritizing National City residents with any food-based donations that are coming from us. They can't guarantee what days, what they're going to do, but they do not distribute. They don't distribute just in San Diego. They do have multiple distributions around the county, and we ask them to prioritize National School District area.
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
Thank you. Are we tracking how much food we're donating?
That's a good question. I'll have to ask John Hanson. I know, yes, he is tracking how much it is, but I don't have any data on that. We can maybe get him in for a presentation on that.
Right. And then to also add, and if we are or not, and if we can adjust our orders based on the data in which we are.
Yes, it's a little bit tricky because we can't just go with supply and demand because we are required to fill all the compartments on that plate. Like if the kid says, I don't want that, it's tough stuff, kid, you're getting it. Like, there's certain things we have to give as part of the National School Lunch Plan. Then what happens after that, a lot of kids might that's how you have kids putting their fruit. If they don't want 2 pieces of fruit, they might put a piece of fruit in to like a re-gift station kind of thing so that somebody else can eat it if they're hungry, but things like that. But we aren't able to adjust just on supply and demand, unfortunately. So John orders the minimum that will meet our needs and that he has to serve.
So for example, I can tell you, just being at the school site, I think I've seen raisins and an abundance of raisins, and I think that that's kind of like use this use. But I think the kids maybe an overload of raisins.
Raisined out.
Raisined out. You know what I mean? Can we do something out, like something like that? So like if we see that raisins are constantly something that we no longer, it's an issue that we just are constantly having to donate, maybe we can replace it with something else.
That's good.
So something of that nature. So if we can kind of see what we're, let's look at the data and see what is constantly being donated. If we can replace it with something else, or let's look at that and be open-minded about it. And so that way we can try to treat our children a little bit differently as well in terms of give them other options.
I love it. It's a great idea.
Trustee DeSanica.
Yeah, just a question regards, the capacity that we may have to train people in our sites. And in every cafeteria, they have, sometimes the instructional assistants are there, assisting the kids eating, and because the different grade levels require different type of necessity. But I just wonder if there's a necessity of training of what to do, what not to do, what to put on in the packaging and send it over. That requires human power too. So I'm wondering if that's considered under this topic.
It has not been, that isn't something that I'm aware that we're doing. But I will certainly bring that to John Hanson and Holly as well, their Director of Food Services, because we do have CNS staff, and we have the ability to also even bring in some substitute staff and do some side training as well, or training on the spot. So I'll bring that idea to them and share that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, sometimes the teachers sit down with them and eat, so I would like to see we're ready for that type of capacity creation, just more training. It's just easy to do because let's be realistic, we don't have the culture of disposing, but we have to create it. So it's a topic that several teachers said that they're there about what we're gonna do with the waste or the untouched food for the kids, and how do you say it to the kids? So the kids have another idea how to dispose it, or they don't use it so they can put it somewhere else. That capacity requires time and effort and training. And it's a switch, the chefing in what do you want to do now? We've been doing this for so long, and now we're gonna do it a new way. So that's just wondering how we're gonna make it. Are we prepared for this?
It's not something that I have thought about, to be honest with you. So it's something that I'll have to bring to John and Holly and even Dr. Kraft and the teaching staff to see how we can incorporate.
Yeah, changing a habit takes time. So I would like to see that coming in this considered.
Well, like you said, even before, just a few years ago, everything that wasn't eaten was just thrown into the same bin. And we've now able to compartmentalize it in the most efficient, effective way. And we're getting better. We still takes learning, right? Like you said, it takes a lot of training, a lot of learning. So for that too, and
I thought at my house, it takes time and been months since this goes in here, this goes in there. So it's just, creating that in a classroom in 10 schools is it's a lot of job. So it requires that. Thank you.
Certainly.
So I'm assuming that we, with free and reduced lunch and just providing for our students, I'm assuming there's some sort of legal requirement that we must prep every day at each school site based on our number of kids. Like a certain number of meals, even if it's a percentage, that you expect 75% of the kids to take lunch or something like that.
Yeah, so that's kind of like you're saying, they use data. They use the historical data of the school to be prepared to serve the next day and then try to limit that weight. They do have, should they, not anticipate a big rush because it's a popular item day or it's a new item or something like that. There are backup fast lunches that the CNS department can put together quickly. So if we ever needed to, we could react, but we haven't, in the year and a half I've been here, we haven't had to pull that out, but that card's available to us. So John's always playing the, fine line of not ordering too much, not ordering too little, looking at the data. Kind of like managing a restaurant, really, because he's feeding 3,500 people a day, or more. So that's a lot of food service, and to get it right on the money. Yeah, well, I'm assuming the absences, and then some will bring their brown bag. So I'm saying 3,500 approximately is what we're putting out every single day, twice a day. Maybe 2,000 breakfasts and 3,500 lunches. That's a lot of food service. So. Yes, it is. It does take a lot of research, a lot of data analysis and tracking to do that, and not end up with a whole bunch of, the freezer's not overflowing. It's not working at the best capacity it could be, but it's not overflowing. So he's on the mark.
You brought up college earlier. See, I remember having turkey dinner for college, for a college meal. And we thought that was very cool until we realized that the next day was turkey cacciatore. The day after it was turkey tetrazzini. Then we had turkey sandwiches, and then we had turkey soup, and then we, so this is trying to, and apparently different rules, because we did
Yeah.
see that turkey for days.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, we have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second by trustee Lusardiga. Please vote.
And it passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. And item 13, board cabinet communications. Trustee Avalos.
A nice audience out here. I want to thank Iris Arellano for being a computer system technician and volunteering for school. Very proud of her. She's so young, but she's doing a great job. And the goodness, her whole family filled out our whole room. I'm glad they came. We have a lot of people here. Thank you for the new employees. Some of them were here, some of them could not make it. I understand that it's kind of hard. Integrity Charter School gave a good presentation, just like any other school. There's a lot that has to be done, but they're working on it and they're working hard at it. So that's good. And Mr. Burke, thank you so much for your presentation. I learned a lot with all these little numbers that you gave us. I'll go home and read it again.
Me too.
That's a lot of work. So thank you so much.
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
Thank you. I also would like to congratulate Iris Arellano Valbuena for her receiving the Employee of the Month. I've had opportunity for her to help me when I was under the weather, and she helped when I was in the other room, and she set me up to be able to be here virtually, but so she was very, very, very helpful, so I appreciate that. I would like to also welcome our new employees, those that were able to be here and those that were not, but thank you and welcome. I hopefully will see you around and about. Integrity, always a wonderful presentation, and to Teresa and Melinda. I know that there's always, as mentioned, work to be done, but those, what do they call it? Celebrations also, it's always great to point those out. Thank you, Dr. Burke and team, for the presentation. I know you're the face, but there's always your team in the background, and Arena, I know she left, but for her support always. It was a wonderful week of CSBA. As a delegate, I had to be there a couple of days before, so I will have an update, but it was a lot of learning, a lot of sessions. Unfortunately, I did not make it to the trade show. Too busy with all of the sessions. I don't know if they closed early this time or not, but it just seems like they were not as available as they had previous years. But anyways, and that's okay. That's not what I was there for. But a lot of learning, so it was exciting. But as mentioned, AI, I guess that's the new word around the school districts now. So I guess we just need to accept it. So I gotta jump on board. And I want to wish my husband a happy belated birthday. I know I was at CSBA, so thank you for allowing me to be away. But I did meet them in, I don't say halfway, but they didn't allow me to drive all the way because I was by myself. So and met up with him for his birthday. So thank you for allowing me to be away. And to everybody, I know we'll meet again, but happy holidays, because I think we'll be on break before we, but the next one, it will be on break.
No, 18th. No, oh yeah, we are on break all the time. 20th.
Anyways, happy holidays. Have a wonderful evening.
Trustee Lusardiga.
Thank you. Well, I just want to echo what Iris Arellano's well-deserved mentioning and honoring her for being a woman in a men domain field, right? It's just nice to see that she is recognized today by his peers. So welcome to the new employees. I'm glad that our family is growing. And you're not gonna get rid of me. I'm always gonna be part of the family anyway. And well, I would like to congratulate Cindy Lopez on her new elected position. And I would like to have add the word continuity and cohesion. I love that. So that's gonna be my new modus operandi for now on. So we all need that continuity. We all need that cohesion to put our feet on the ground that this is gonna happen. And so coming back to I'm not too friendly with acronyms, and that's what we mentioned. You as the academia, I mean, mentioned it's much easier to use acronyms, but in the real world, there's like it looks like we're hitting something. That's the perception. So that's what I was hesitant to not to ask or to in pushing like explain what it is, because you know it may look like we're hitting something. So that's what it's like. It might seem like a simple thing for you because you know LAA and ELOB and DBA and AI. So things like that are so practical, but on the real world, people may not understand. I don't understand because I'm not an academia. So thank you for the patient for asking and requesting an explanation of what it is, because this is public document. So we need to be able to be servicing the people in an understandable way. Thank you. And I would like to wish a belated birthday to my son. It was his 27th birthday yesterday. So I was happy to have him like that. He's coming back in January to pursuing on his doctorate and his Navy career that he's doing. So I'm happy to announce that he's coming back in January to start his doctorate work. So, and for that being said, I know we have a very good grasping of what anxiety does to our children and to our adults in an adult life. We were touched by the screening movie that we saw, and oh my God, I was very touched. But this is real, and it moves the fibers inside of us, and I just cannot imagine. I'm family-wise, it touched me personally, but how we gonna make it positive into the community that we serve? So. Hopefully the hope is what we continue to do and to have that continuity and cohesion that it relates to mental health. So hopefully we can focus that on the hope that we're gonna make a new word for us, hope and continuity and cohesion. So that'll be our modus operandi for now. So I know we feel it here, and me sitting on the dais and pushing that and have that priority of mental health, because if you're not mentally healthy, you're not able to learn, you're not able to socialize, you're not able to talk about what your feelings are and express yourself. So, and develop a profession that you have as a leaders, and me on myself, it happens, it's real. So let's have that in mind. So for that being said, wish everybody happy holidays. Thank you so much. Good night.
Dr. Burke.
I want to thank the trustees and executive cabinet. This was my first CSBA last week, and I thought it was an incredible experience. I learned so much. But beyond the learning, I also felt that it was a really important team building event. So just getting to experience and learn new things with you and learn new things about you, all that was really great and was very meaningful for me in that week. Two things that we came away with, I think, were the powerful nature of two words, two emotions. The power of happiness and how it can really impact your production and how you navigate through life. The impact it has on you and the people around you and your effectiveness, and the negative power of anxiety. So I just encourage us all to continue to take that learning, keep that learning, and share that learning with others. And also as leaders, be mindful of how we create those emotions in other people, the happiness and the anxiety that can come with having to talk with a boss or a leader or have expectations. So as we consider those in the future, I think that's really important learning that I gained this week, and I thank you for it.
Dr. Kevin.
Well, I'm sorry I was not able to attend CSBA and had college visits on the East Coast. It was a great experience, so I missed all of you. I hope to join next year. I want to congratulate Iris Arellano Balbuena and thank Joe Ferris for nominating her. She's the tech person that helps in our department in HR. She's always there with a smile, positive attitude, and always willing to help. So I really appreciate Iris. Thank you for everything that you do. I want to welcome our new employees. And then just thank Teresa Hart and Melinda Wold and Dr. Burke for their presentations. We always learn so much from their presentations, and I really enjoy having that partnership with Integrity and visiting their school. And then lastly, just want to thank our negotiations team and our NCETA partners for the collaboration and dedication and commitment that it takes to go through the bargaining process. And we're just so glad that the board approved our agreement tonight, and thank you.
Dr. Kraft.
Well, I'm going to echo many of the sentiments this evening. I want to congratulate our employee of the month, Edith. She is a dynamic rock star and holds her own. And also welcome the new employees. Want to thank Dr. Burke and the fiscal team, Ms. Coward, especially, and for the presentation as well as Integrity. I do also very much appreciate our partnership with them. I'd like to wish Dr. Burke a happy birthday coming up. Yeah.
That Frida just got 1 year old.
Yeah, we got
1 year younger.
When we get rid of the freezer. Yeah. Okay. And I want to thank the central team for a wonderful visit that we had on Tuesday. It was so exciting just to be in that energy of learning and watching the staff give the students so much student agency. It was wonderful. And then I just hope everyone is happy, having a wonderful holiday season, and happy holidays.
Happy early birthday.
Dr. Brady.
Okay, so I wanted to start my comments by just reassuring the board that although we're not putting any formal items as presentations, we are working behind the scenes with the county on the potential immigration enforcement that we're hearing about potentially coming down the pipe with the new administration at the federal level. You probably, being politically connected, probably heard that the county of San Diego passed a resolution last night that caught the attention of the United States incoming enforcer for immigration, and pretty much they told us, watch out, San Diego. So we know that we have some work to do as a team. In California, there's an estimated 750 California children that have an undocumented immigrant parent. 750,000 Californian children. We know that the last time this same presidency went through, we had some activity right here in National City. We had some kids that went to school, and when they came home, their parents were gone. We'll be working to identify a team that can put plans in place should we see things that we saw in the past, like immigration sweeps. We know that for families that might be affected, there's going to be a growing distrust, and that's with all of law enforcement. We have SROs that have been working very hard to build relationships with our families, and they are not immigration enforcement. So they, in the past, were not even notified when ICE would come into National City. So we need to be aware of that. We need to be making sure our families are aware of that. As they've said on the TV, of course, we're going to be learning as things unfold. This could take, these could be happening on day one, but could take many months and years potentially to feel the effects. We know that some of our students who are citizens may end up being taken with their families and may need to work to find their way back into our community. And so we're already talking with Chula Vista that has an online learning program that potentially we could do a joint MOU, things like that, those kinds of ideas, so that we can have the least amount of interruption to student learning as we navigate things that might unfold. I met with the county office this morning. They are going to be working behind the scenes to potentially provide things. We suggested right here in National City at SECREC. We'll be meeting Monday with South Bay Community Services to talk about how kids even get to school if families don't want to come out and be on the road walking on the street. They may want to stay in their homes, but kids still need to get to school. We know our families are going to be less likely to attend things like open houses, parent-teacher conferences, in-person registrations, other student activities. So what can we do as a school district to help mitigate that? So we're going to be trying to work on, we know everybody has a lot of things on their plate, but this is something that we need to identify, somebody that's going to take the reins and be able to, again, work behind the scenes. You may hear from people, oh, that the school district doesn't care about our students. We didn't see anything on your board agendas. But we know that school districts, counties, cities, as they do things like making public statements of sanctuary cities, are going to become targets. We saw it just yesterday. And so we're working to strategize. I wanted to make sure that you know, if you have questions, please reach out directly to me. But for the safety of our families, we may not be publicly talking about our plans as they unfold, but I will update you regularly on our memo as I'm able to. And of course, if you call me one-on-one, I can explain to you anything that we have going on. But we'll be in touch. We just probably won't be doing it as publicly as we have in the past, just for the protection of our families. So I just wanted to, more to come on that, but we are working behind the scenes. I wanted to say that on November 21st, Dr. Keppen and Dr. Kraft and I were able to go to the Leading the Way for the Blue California, it's a Blue Cross promise. We were able to go to an award ceremony where we were honored for leading the way for inspiring leadership for our response to our families for the floods back in January of 2024. January 2024. And that's a lot to do with our Student Support Services Department, getting hotel vouchers for families that were affected, to our sites that stayed open, even though they had waterfalls coming down, stayed open. Our CNS department was able to feed our students despite having no power, making sure that school continued for everybody involved. So this will go in the back of our board room, but I just wanted the board to know we also got several proclamations for National School District. So I'll pass these down. You can take a look at them. But again, it's the leadership. It starts at the board level, and we thank you for always prioritizing our families. I wanted to thank the board also for a great time at CSBA learning together. Again, I look forward to the presentations that the board does on all your learning, but to learn alongside you and see how we can continue to make our district better was time well spent, valuable time. And then finally, I was going to add to the birthdays by saying happy early birthday to Dr. Burke and to Noah Brady, who follows you the day after. Thank you.
Mrs. Brady, I would like to say something about this immigration. A few years back, the immigration was really strong in National City. And right now, they're even at the Bonita Plaza. So if you know any families that are not American citizens, be careful. They're out there. We've tried to tell our families in National City, we have meetings to let them know because they are out there. They're out there at the Bonita Plaza and they will stop you coming out of the stores to see if you have papers. It's not illegal to do that. So, I mean, we try to let people know, don't be crossing the border if you don't have papers, because they've done this before. They take pictures of your license and they count to see how many times you've crossed. So at random, they'll stop you. And they've done it already before, a few years back, and they're doing it again. And they'll take everything you have in your car, your laptop, your phone, everything. And they'll keep you there if you're not an American citizen. It's a lot of them come and they have jobs here, but they go back and forth. So we are letting our National City people know that and having meetings. So it would be nice if you know somebody like that, even to be careful at the Bonita Plaza. And I don't know about any other stores in San Diego, any place else, but I know Bonita Plaza. They have been there before, and they are stopping people coming out of the stores.
Thank you, Trustee Avalos. And if offline, we can talk about some of those organizations that the board might be connected to, that we can connect our families to. We'll be collecting that.
Maybe speak to them in the PTA meeting or something like that. I don't want to, I mean, it's scary. It's scary. Like you said, for a few years ago, they took a whole family. I remember they're on the Avenue.
Yes.
That's where it happened there.
Yeah.
And they took the parents. And they don't care. They were stopping people coming out of their mobile homes right there on National Avenue as they drove out and followed them and stopped.
And we do recognize we're anticipating a lot of racial profiling as well, even for people that it doesn't apply to. And detaining for long periods of time, delaying students from being able to get where they're going, including school.
So very briefly, I would like to see if we can just, what type of conversation we're gonna have with National City Middle and Granger, and, you know, I mean, this is San Diego region, but we have a lot of border crossers that they come to school and to the high school. So I would like to see that, if you have those conversations with the principal at Sweetwater and the other two principals, that what type of language that they're using, and to have a common consensus about what to say to people, because you know they commute every single day to go to school and come back to home. So I would like to see if you have those conversations with that one and how effective, or maybe have other ideas how to pass the message. Thank you.
I'm not gonna say a list of. For those of you who have a heart for our children, we may have those situations where they are separated from their parents. We will need foster care. We will need CASA advocates. We will need people who step up when parents are taken and children are left behind. So I'm asking, I guess, for my last piece. And, you know, throw out there, and I know this makes things weird, but teachers, we actually have an emergency foster status that is easier for us to have and to go through. We pray for our families. And in whatever way we can be present, we will be. And that's the end of our meeting today.